These are mung beans. Oh. You done doing your business, mung beans? Hello everyone, my name is Lisa and I'm the Viet Vegan because I'm Viet and I'm vegan. And today is a collab video. It is a collab with the amazing Mary's Test Kitchen. If you guys haven't heard of her channel already, what are you doing? If you love vegan food, if you love Asian food, if you just love delicious food in general and you love hilarious voiceovers, then you're gonna love Mary's Test Kitchen. So I'm gonna leave her channel over there as well as down below because I know you're gonna wanna check out Mary. And also Mary's doing this delicious dumpling recipe. If you guys haven't seen this already, watch it immediately after this video because it is delicious looking. Every time I watch Mary's videos, I'm like, dang it, I wanna eat that. I hope you guys go check out Mary. She is one of my favorite vegan YouTubers. She is hilarious and just a super cool individual. Today, I am making a classic Vietnamese dish. It's called Bánh Ít Trần, which means naked little cakes, naked cakes. I don't know how to translate it specifically. Typically, they're wrapped in banana leaves and they are filled with a bunch of other stuff. It's typically filled with like shrimp or pork or like other stuff, but obviously I'm vegan, so I'm not gonna be filling that. I'll be filling it with mung beans. So these are mung beans. I've actually soaked these I initially meant to soak them for only overnight, but then I ended up soaking them all day. They've been in the fridge, so they're fine, but you only need to soak them for about 8 hours. We have our mung beans. These are actually the green mung beans with the hulls removed, and then they become yellow when that happens. So these are mung bean rice dumpling things. They're like super savory and it's coated in like a glutinous rice chewy coating. Oh my god, it's so good. One of my favorite things ever. So I actually have the recipe on my blog. If you guys want the full recipe, details, and all that stuff, I'll link it down below. I thought I would show you guys how to make it today because it's actually super easy. There's only like 11 ingredients. That's not bad for a whole dish. Lunar New Year has just come and gone. If you guys haven't checked out those videos for Lunar New Year, I have them linked in there. So let's start cooking. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cook our mung beans. We just pop them in here. I've drained them, I've rinsed them, the whole shebang. This is about 300 grams or about just a little bit over 2.5 cups, I think. And I'm just gonna fill it up with some water. You fill it up just until it's covered. And then you're also going to add a little bit of salt. So I'm using kosher salt. Table salt works fine. You might need a little bit less kosher salt. I find that kosher salt is a lighter, less salty salt, which is why I prefer it. So you just stir the salt in there. So you're gonna let this cook for about 25 minutes to 30 minutes, stirring occasionally so nothing sticks to the bottom until the mung beans sort of cook, and then they're gonna kind of disintegrate into a paste. I'm actually gonna move that onto the stove over there, and I'm gonna continue cooking this whole shebang. So the next thing we're gonna make is some onion oil. We're gonna need some onion and we're gonna need some oil. So this is what adds the flavor and the aroma to the mung beans themselves. So we're gonna add the oil here. This is about 1/3 of a cup of oil, and it's supposed to be about half an onion minced, but I used a whole onion plus the whites of the green onion that I use. You know what? I'm okay with it. So you're gonna lower the heat as low as it'll go. You're gonna let this sort of simmer for about 15 minutes until the onions are like totally soft. So we're gonna leave this for a little bit and we'll come back. I'll be right back. BRB. All right, well, looks like I forgot to turn on my mic. So this is a voiceover now. So what you're seeing right now is me pouring and straining the onion from the onion oil. Things are very cooked through, translucent, and yeah, so this onion oil is what is going to deliver a lot of flavor and deliciousness to the dumplings. And don't worry, we're gonna use the cooked onion as well. That's gonna go into the mung bean mixture. Speaking of which, let's take you along to the mung bean mixture right now. So it's not quite done yet, but almost. I actually added a little bit more water to cook these beans down completely so that they start to lose their shape. But you're gonna mash them a little bit, so it'll be okay. So now that our onions are strained, we're gonna make our second onion oil, which is like the finishing oil. The same sort of deal, we add some onion. I'm not gonna wash the pot, I'm just gonna use the same pot as before because it doesn't matter that we have a little cross-contamination, you know? So this time I have about 1/4 cup of oil and about 3 green onions with just the green parts chopped up. So we're gonna add that in there. And we're just gonna let that cook, you know? This takes less time. This takes about like 3 minutes or so. You can also do this in the microwave, but it's a little bit more effective on the stove because all of the water content, it kind of gets cooked out. All right, now that the onions are totally cooked down, you're gonna transfer everything over to a small bowl. So you have every last drop of this liquid gold, which is super flavorful onion infused oil, super delicious. I'm super pumped. This is gonna be a good time. So we have our onion oil here, our cooked onions. our green onion oil, which is gonna be set aside for later. So we're just gonna put that to the side. We have our cooked mung beans. You have it cooked just until it's sort of like the consistency of mashed potato. You might need to add a little bit more water, but try not to add too much, because if you add too much, then it'll get too goopy and it won't be easy to roll into balls. I have burned a little bit to the bottom, but that's okay. So we're gonna add our onions. Get in there. Just stir that in. Oh my God, that smells so good. Holy, I'm just gonna add a little bit of oil to this, just to add more flavor. So about 2 teaspoons. You should have some oil when you add your onions in, but I kind of squeezed out some of the extra oil, so I'm just adding it back in. I'm just gonna let this cool down so I can handle them a little bit easier. Just a second. And we're back. This has cooled down significantly, so now I'm gonna roll it into balls. Like I said, it's still like kind of the texture of mashed potatoes. So you're gonna take about 3 tablespoons or so, and you're going to roll them into balls. All right, so this makes about 14, maybe 15 if you don't totally burn it like I did. It makes about 15 of these dumplings. Now we have them all rolled up. Let's make the batter. This is a bag of glutinous rice flour. Don't worry, there's no actual gluten in here. It's just the type of flour it is. It's just sticky rice plus water ground into this flour. So you're gonna need an entire bag, which is about 400 grams. You want all of this. A teaspoon of salt. My teaspoon is dirty, so I'm gonna use a half teaspoon. And just put 2 of those in there. So that's 1, 2. And then you're also gonna do 3 tablespoons of the oil. And finally, some water. So you wanna use some warm water, and it's gonna be about 1.5 cups, but you're just gonna add a little by little until you get like a dough consistency. It's gonna be pretty sticky, but the finished dough should be kind of tacky, but not totally sticky. So you're just gonna mix everything together until you get a dough. It's easiest to use your fingers here. And the reason why I'm wearing gloves is because I have some eczema on my hands right now, so it's a little, I got some cuts. I don't wanna put that in the food, you know? Safety. You need a little bit more water. So we've almost got like a dough consistency going. We just need a little bit more mixing together, you know? I'm actually gonna add a little bit more oil too. Just keep mixing until all the flour is kind of absorbed into the dough. Almost there, but we're gonna need a little bit more water. Just a splash more. So this is sort of the consistency you want it. It's like tacky, but not super sticky. So that's what we're aiming at. And then we're gonna take some dough, and then we're gonna make it into like a patty cake. This dough is a little too sticky and too delicate to use a rolling pin on. This is what the dumpling should sort of look like. You don't want any of the mung bean to be exposed, because when it cooks, it'll just have some of it kind of break open and expand, and you don't want any broken dumplings. That's no fun. Just cover that up and keep on rolling. So anyway, I'm just gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna fast forward, and then I'll see you in a bit. I explained this in the clip that didn't get recorded, but you just roll the dough or flatten the dough as thin as possible, and then you wrap up the mung bean thing. You can pinch off any excess, and if you tear anything, just patch it back up. It'll be totally fine. It's super versatile and really easy to work with. So these are all now wrapped up. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook them. I tried my best as possible to create as thin of a layer of the outer coating as possible, because it's not very good when it's just like a super thick layer of the dumpling. They should be about this size, and I've got a pot of water boiling here, so we're gonna cook these dumplings. Much like any other kind of dumplings, they will float to the top as soon as they're done cooking. Once they're done cooking, I have a plate here that's like lightly coated with some of the onion oil, so when I pull it out, it doesn't stick to the plate. One serving is about like 3 or 4 of these dumplings. Any more than that, then you'll be quite full. And I'm gonna drop these in there, one by one. Make sure that when you put them in, you just kind of gently stir them a little bit so they don't stick to the bottom. They should float to the top once they're ready. So I'm just gonna add in a couple more. If you find that when you're rolling them, they're really sticky, use some of the onion oil on your hands. With that, I'm just gonna cook the rest of these, and I'll show you guys what they look like when we're about to eat. So So once they're all floating to the top, just take them out and put them onto the plate that you've coated in oil, and then you drizzle some more of that onion oil on top. You have to do this, otherwise they'll stick together. This is important. You need the oil, otherwise it'll just clump up together and that won't be delicious. So I have all my dumplings here. They're coated in oil so they don't stick because they're very sticky. And I'm going to drizzle some onion oil on top for some extra deliciousness. This doesn't make that many, but it is so worth the effort. Holy. Okay, so let's see if I can cut it for the camera to show you guys how gooey it is. So yummy. Oh, I forgot one more thing. With this dish, you would normally serve it with fish sauce, but I made a vegan version. Actually, I did a video for it. If you want to watch that video, click over there and I'll leave a link down below. But this is called Untitled Chapter, and it is so good. I'm just gonna pour it on top here. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Let's take a bite. Yum. It's so simple, but it's so good. The like chewiness of the outside layer, creaminess and like the savoriness of the mung bean and the onion. Oh my god, I forgot how good this was. So if you want the recipe for this sauce, I'll leave a link down below. If you want the recipe for this dish, these dumplings, these super delicious, gooey, chewy, so good. Oh my god, I'm so excited. So if you want the recipe, I'll leave the link down below. Be sure to check out Mary's channel. Subscribe to Mary, she is awesome. Tell her I sent ya. So if you like this recipe, hit that like button because they really help me out. So do the comments. I love reading your comments. I try to answer as many as I can. And subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a delicious day. Bye. Okay, what on earth is in here? Burned on onion. Classic Lisa.